Michael is the VP of APAC at Aptweek, and he's come down all the way from Belgium to host this panel discussion. So I hope you enjoy the same. The panel consists of 4 members overall. We have Rishab Ranjan, who's the Senior Marketing Manager, SEO and ASO at Jungly Games. We have Gaurav, who's the Associate Vice President at Performix. We have Biplove from Nukebox. He's the founder and CEO. And we have Kumaesan, who's the Head of Digital and Mobile Marketing at .com Infoway. Please give a big round of applause to all the panelists and Michael.
So nice being here. So as Karan just introduced me, I'm Michael. I'm Vice President for APAC at Aptweek. It's a real pleasure being here. I flew all the way from Belgium. And a fun story is that I joined Aptweek 5 years ago, and at the time we didn't have an office in India. So I was actually the one in charge of taking care of our Indian clients. So some of you in the room, for those who have been doing ASO for quite some time, you might have been on Zoom with me 5 years ago. So it's so nice to be here with you all. We have amazing panelists with us today. So I'll let each of you introduce themselves first. You can give a short intro, and then we'll start with a few questions about how to best measure the impact in the app stores.
Hi all. So this is Kumaesan, heading the mobile and digital marketing team at .com Infoway. With 20 years plus experience, we have specialized in providing IT solutions and marketing. Personally, I have privileged to work with around 50 plus clients and 100 plus apps worldwide, right from startup to giant apps.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Gaurav. I'm from Performix. I have been with the organic space for the last decade or so, but in the last couple of years, expanded into looking at what AI as well as any advancement in technology has and how that's powering the whole app growth system in the world. Right? And I think we've been associated with Aptweek for probably 3 to 4 years. I think Karan had just joined, so I think my photo should also be here while it's there, right? But very nice to be here.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Biplove Bilwal. I'm the CEO and founder of Nukebox Studios. It's been a studio that's been around for about 10 years. And during this time, we have grossed more than $100 million in the gaming space. We make games for women, and I see there's a lot of women here. But with the games that we make are for women, unfortunately for the Western markets. And they are very loyal. They pay us lots of money. And we are super happy to serve them. But I think tide is turning. We are also looking at making games for the Indian segment in India. I think we are one of the very few studios from India that have worked on a AAA IP in an F2P space. AAA is the highest end in any brand that one can get to, and F2P means free-to-play games. So these games are available for free, but they have certain economy pinches where you spend money. And I'm very happy to be here. Organics are an important part of our revenue stream, and happy to share our insights. One quick cheap plug here is that we are going to be launching our newest game called Cooking Channel, and it's in soft launch now. In a couple of months, we will be launching it globally. Do try that as a shameless plug. So get an opportunity to speak about it. Yeah. So happy to be here, Michael, and fellow panelists.
Hi guys, this is Rishab. For a decade, I have been working for organic growth and help competitor and help my businesses grow online organically, basically. Previously I worked with Bang Bazaar and OLX. Right now I'm working with Jungly Games as a senior marketing manager, SEO and ASO. Happy to be here, happy to be sharing my learning with you all. Thank you.
Thank you for the intro. So we'll get started right away. And so we know that there's so many KPIs, so many data points to look at when we're working on App Store marketing. And so first question that I have is that if you were to just pick 3 different KPIs to prioritize when measuring the success of an app in the App Stores, what would this be and why?
So let me take this question. So according to me, there are a lot of KPI basically when you come into app marketing. But according to me, these are 3 top which comes into mind right now. First is download. I think it's very obvious why download, because download is primary thing which we work for, right? As a marketeer, we need to get more number of downloads in our app to see the the user engagement or whatever. So second will be conversion rate. Why I say conversion rate is whatever activity you do, right? People tend to come on your app page and then convert. So if the page is not good, if conversion is not good, end of the day you are losing the traffic over there, or install, you can say that, right? Third thing is for me will be rating and reviews. Why? Because if you have a bad rating, bad reviews, the top 3 feature review I'm talking about here, so people tend to not install your app. That is the very major factor when people comes on your page, apart from whatever they are on the page, the rating and reviews. So yes, I think this is the top 3 which comes in mind right now. Yeah, thank you.
If I may,
Sure.
I think I'll take it a little bit higher level and say that what I would look at is typically the North Star for us is ROI. Return on investment on anything that we are investing, we must get the returns out of it. You know that there are about 700,000 plus games on app stores, and you need to be discovered, and you need to be downloaded, and you need to be played, and having played, people have to spend money on that, and in order to get them to download, you could have a journey that starts before somebody has come on App Store on their own. So in the world of gaming, at least, there is an inorganic piece, that is very important for us, and that's basically, you spend money on performance marketing, and then you show your users something, and enticed by that, they come to the App Store. And then they do XYZ things, right? Now, it could also be that somebody else has enticed a user to come to the App Store, and then he starts browsing, he starts discovering, he starts exploring, and that's where the power of inorganic kicks in. Now, if you're only looking at inorganic, you will typically be looking at the DROAS. In our case, the DROAS is about 60 days when it comes to paid marketing, right? But if our inorganic marketing is supplemented by organic as well, the EROAS is about 40 days. So DROAS, which is about for 100% payback, if it's 60 days, it comes down to 40 days. And that's an ROI that we are really looking at in the gaming space. Anybody wants to have some chat about it later, I'm happy to talk more about it, but this is a panel, and I think we want to look at the spectrum of things. So for me, it's ROI, and then it's ROAS. And eventually, of course, like Rishab said, it's the retention, it's the download, and so on and so forth. Yes.
Very interesting perspective on highlighting and emphasizing the fact that App Store is just one part of the entire journey of users before they reach your app, before they reach your game. And we know that if we zoom into that specific part of the funnel, the App Stores, there are actually 2 different bits. And one of the bits is the visibility. So how do you make sure that you get the right visibility, that you get your app in front of the users, whatever channel they came through? And then the second bit is the conversion rate. How do you make sure that after finding your app, the people actually download your app and stick to it? And so my follow-up question is, in terms of increasing the visibility of your app, making sure that your app gets in front of users, what are some successful strategies that you've put in place, and what do you actually look at in order to measure this visibility?
So I will take that actually. So generally, I'm going to talk about new and non-branded apps here. Already 50% of traffic are coming from brand-related searches. So these apps need to compete each other for remaining 50%, which is very tough considering the current market scenario. So let me share an example. consider if you are working for the photo editor app. So simply targeting the term photo editor in app title won't bring you much efforts as giants like Snapseed, Pixart are already topping the charts. So we have implemented the following strategies which work very well for us actually. So we have picked up the relevant keywords which is related to your app features. In this case, the 11 features might be your makeup filter or blur filter and your functionality like pick collage. So you can able to find out with tools like AppTweak where you are having a feature called keyword cluster which gives you a bunch of relevant keywords actually. So once you have find out the relevant keywords, you can find their maximum reach apart from the volume score because some keywords might contain same volume score but their maximum reach will differ. So you can also cross-check with native tool like Google Keyword Planner and Google Alerts actually. Also, you can pick up and analyze the competitors who are non-branded but rank in top for high volume keywords. So while analyzing those competitors, you can able to find the correlation between the keywords that they have used and the keywords that they are ranking for. For example, if a competitor have provided more density to the keyword pick collage, check where they have utilized that keywords, either in the title or short description and check where they are ranking for. This gives you a quick glimpse of what's working for them and you can take decisions accordingly. So in this case, if you found that keywords like makeup filter and pick collage works fine for you or the top keywords, you can A/B test them with your core keyword photo editor in app titles. Also, you can invest in native ad placement like Google search or Apple search ads, which gives you more visibility. Also, the engagement that you are receiving from these ads will have its impact in organic listing too. So to measure their success, so like the most important and simple KPI is to analyze your app impressions and store visitors. If you see improvement there, it shows that your implementations have started working.
Just to add to that, Kumaesan given good understanding about the keyword which we target and how to target it, right? To add to that, I think for visibility, you have to work first thing on your brand. You have to make sure that your brand is visible. You have to work on your brand campaign and all. So there is one more feature I think many of you know, which is in-app event, which have Apple also have or Play Store also have. So using those feature where you can promote your events or any new major update which you have, like any feature you are launching, right? So you can have that as a card, and Google and Apple will promote this, right? Or in this scenario, right? So this will help you to gain more user or more visitor on your app. So yes, in addition to that.
I think I have a very, a separate experience also that I wanted to obviously share regarding this. That one, just a slight history lesson. I landed in Bangalore in around exactly January 2020. Bang in the middle of the pandemic, and suddenly there was a demand for apps. Right, every brand wanted to go app first, and I think that the piece that came out very clearly was that everyone had a web presence, absolutely, but wanted their apps to now start getting discovered. Right. Another data that obviously was shared right now that 71% brands will have an app tomorrow. Absolutely, I think I'm surprised it's already not the case, right? But I think what really came out was that we needed people to move from web to app, and brands wanted the people to move from web to app, and there was a lot of stickiness expected from that. So typically, what we did is we experimented a lot with app-only features. I think if you were already on web, you were signed up with them. What would you get extra if you were to move to the app, right? And that would make you install the app, then stay on the app for as long as possible, right? And that tended to work really well for brands that wanted their apps to be discovered, because at that point in time, no brand, they were not searching for them on App Store, or they're not searching for them on Play Store, right? So that kind of really, worked in that case. And then beyond that, I think coming back to today, back from the history lesson today, I think what we've also noticed that a lot of the communication on, again, sticking to web to app, a lot of the communication from either your web campaigns or your web, your web experiences, how we continue the communication from web to your store to your app, right? The standard understanding is that keep it as linear as possible, right? So there's understanding through and through, but we've been experimenting a lot with a lot of hybrid communication that ensures that people are enticed to move from web to the store, from store to the app, and then stay to the app, right? And then, obviously monetize them as much as possible, right? So I think those strategies tend to work really well for us also.
Thank you for sharing. And what's very interesting is that the first thing to actually take into account is the context, right? Like whether you have a strong brand, whether you are a non-branded app, and to actually have your strategy built around that specific context, and then to have a proper mix. So one strategy alone won't actually just work, but like to rely on keyword if your app is not strongly branded, or to rely on conversion from web to app if you have a lot of users already on the web, to actually just take that leap into the app world. So thank you for sharing. And if we now move to conversion rate, right? Conversion rate is people have actually found your app and you now want them to download it. So how do you make sure that you manage that goal successfully, and how do you successfully measure how your conversion rate improves over time? Does anyone wants to share here?
Sure. So for conversion rate, App Store digital assets work well for us. We generally ensure that the app icon and the keywords that we have provided in the app title and the first three screenshots or videos are more relevant to each other. Because basically the first three screenshots or videos that you have provided should convey or justify your app concept as per the information you have provided in the title. So generally we try to analyze the keyword which we are receiving more traffic or conversion from, and we align our digital assets accordingly. Suppose like if we are running the campaigns, ad campaigns, we make sure that users are seeing consistent information and the App Store to align with what they have seen on ads. For example, if one of your ads says, new user will receive 30% sign-up bonus, so you need to place that text prominently on App Store. That might be either in short description or first para of description, or even better if you have placed that on the screenshot. Also, if you are running the influencer campaign, you can effectively make use of Google Custom Store Listing or CPP on App Store to highlight the features that resonate influencers' audience. So, for example, we have seen the case where just by changing the female model in one of our dating app, improve the conversion rate to around 30% to us actually. So these are simple data. So the key takeaway here is that we need to analyze every piece of data, and to analyze those success, we generally see the KPI like user retention, active users, and user loss. So this will gives you a glimpse of how your app is performing in terms of conversion rate.
I can add two stories here from, it's anecdotal, but it's also based on data. The first thing is that sometimes if you do the job very well on the App Store, it kind of gives you a very good picture of what's going to work for your advertising also, which is outside the App Store. So you understand that, if the conversion for a certain model is very high, 30%, why don't you use that model picture in all your inorganic advertising as well? So I think that's something that we've learned, that whatever is working in App Store can then be extended into a journey which is a pre-App Store journey. That's number one. And if you permit, the second story is that if you are listening to your customers on the App Store and they give you a lot of feedback, they tell you what's right, what's wrong in the game. Like I said, we make cooking games. Women are extremely sensitive about recipes and time management and the way an asset looks and so on and so forth, and we get that information. Sometimes they feel that we are being very stingy. We are asking for too much money, and we get all that information, and they use certain terms. They use certain patois, the language, right? I think that language that you're picking up from the users, the feedback that is coming to you, that can be used in your descriptions. That can be used in everything in the ASO, and so on and so forth. So these are the two things I'd like to share here that we learn, and these are the strategies that work very well.
Yeah, it's really insightful to actually pick what users have shared within the app to then take that out of the app, or to do it the other way around. So to actually run advertising, to actually test what people will enjoy playing. If, for example, you're testing in the game space, if you want to test a new game launch, then you can also test before launching the full development, to test it through ads, to see what ads are performing better in order to then launch it. And that also works, of course, for everything that's creatives and conversion rate related. Now, I think something that's quite challenging today is each of us work with a lot of different platforms. There's a lot of different sources of data. So there are platforms, there are the consoles, you have your MMP, so you basically have data coming from everywhere, and the data does not always align, and then you need to report on the data in order to make decisions. So how today do you sort this out? What are your best practices? How do you do in order to make sense of the data to then make decisions?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think, like you said, right, correctly, that data is flowing from everywhere, and I think because of the different sources of data, also, making them all sync together is also very challenging, because each platform has its own nuances when it comes to data. So I think for us, one, data across the funnel and beyond it is obviously very, very important. But the first things first is to make it all sync together, right? So we obviously use we've actually advanced to AI models that help us also make sense of this data collectively, right? That if the data, upper funnel data, let's say, is coming from your ad campaigns, your search console is giving you install data, your post app interactions is coming from a partner like, let's say, CleverTap for that matter, right? How do these all sync together to give you more insights is where we've also deployed some AI models to give us that kind of insights. And then all of this comes together in a single output, a single source of truth, which would be any visualization platform like a Power BI for that matter, right? But the importance, like I said, being that these all need to sync together, right? And until they don't do that, you're probably taking data from one source, interpreting it in a certain way, which may not really work well with the next part of the data. So that's how usually it's, that's how we're looking at data and reporting it and understanding it better.
Thanks. Anyone has another bit of insights they want to share, or how do you do it to handle data?
I have something, but I've been talking too much. So
Yeah, sure. As he mentioned, we make sure that we align with all tools actually. Sometimes we simply go with the plain Excel sheet where some KPIs like keyword tracking need to be analyzed on daily basis, because you need the impact of these keywords which correlate with your daily installs. Apart from that, we use attribution tools to check the post-install KPIs, and we use Looker tool actually. So this kind of tools we generally use, but the key is that we need to measure certain KPIs on daily basis. So it will give you an idea of where you are on the respective conversion rate or the keyword ranking or so on.
So one of the most delightful things about gaming is the advanced telemetry that's really possible, right? And what does that mean? It means our ability to catch events that are happening within the game. And we have visibility on what is happening moment to moment as the player is progressing through the game. Now, at the top of the funnel is, let's say, a tool like AppTweak, which is your ASO tool. And after that is the real fun when somebody is starting to play the game. And of course, you could use Google Analytics, for example, Firebase, etc., to catch those events. And then, as you said that you could use Power BI or whatever, internal tools to really visualize the data. The beauty is, how do you put two and two together? So imagine that you put a keyword cooking and you got some installs, or you put food and you got some installs. I think, as I mentioned, my North Star metric is not really install, it's ROI. Finally, I'm interested in how much money was spent by somebody who came and installed using cooking and somebody who installed using food. And the beauty with the telemetry is that we can tell. So the question is, tomorrow, cooking is giving you more number of installs, but food is giving you more monetization. And here's a trade-off that you need to make as to where do you really want to focus. Are you looking for DAO, MAU, and installs, or you're looking at ROAS, DROAS that I mentioned earlier, right? So I think the tools have to function top of the funnel to all the way to the bottom of the funnel, and there are a bunch of those tools. Looker Studio, Power BI, some MMP tools, great tools are there, and you could use them. And you know, that's pretty much gives you the visualization on what's really happening. The game economy is digital, and therefore you get moment-to-moment feedback, and it depends on how you really want to leverage that. And that would be my take on that.
Yeah, the distinction between like what are the business metrics that actually matter for you, and maybe some metrics that sometimes can be considered a bit as vanity metrics that aren't actually generating revenue is really key. And it's important to differentiate both in order to make actual business decision and decisions that are going to help you grow your app, both in terms of revenue and in terms of usage. So I don't know how much time left we have, but I guess we covered quite a few points here. So I'd like to add our panelists if they have any additional tip that they want to share with the audience, and then we'll keep 5-10 minutes for the audience to ask some questions.
Sure. So as Biplove mentioned, like we need to analyze what measures or what return we are getting for each keywords, because there are some cases where we might get impressions or traffic for certain keywords, but our post-install KPI might be poor actually, because the ultimate goal of every app is to retain users and to generate revenue. So we have faced this issue in one of our app, which is related to stock fantasy, where users can be able to create squad of stacks and they can compete with each other and earn rewards. The app contains actual stock data itself. So while analyzing, we have seen that a lot of users are installing the app that are related to the keyword stock learning, which shows that these users are more novice to the stock field. However, our users are supposed to be users who are familiar with stock. So understanding that, we entirely restructure our data, like implementing the gamification elements in our streams, such like leaderboard, coins, and some jargon terms actually. So after implementing that, we have seen that like the conversion rate for the keyword related to learning has been dropped down gradually. However, we have seen prominent improvement in user stickiness and game activity. This shows that the intention of
marketing. So there are three things which we have to work on. One is app visibility, because that is the way you get more download. Second is app experience. Once people have installed, you know, they should have a good onboarding session, or maybe whenever they're, whatever, you know, section it is, gaming or whatever, the experience should be good overall. Third thing is you work, like there are a lot of MMP and all, right, to track user behavior, right, retention part of it, how actually users are doing once they have come onto platform. So to give an overview, I think these are the three metrics or three things we have to work, or any app marketer has to work on.
Thanks. So I think this last tip, this last insight actually summarized quite well what we discussed today, right? To work on the visibility, to work on the in-app experience, and then to work on what actually comes out of the different users that you brought in, so that you can improve the two first bit, whether it is within the App Store or outside of the stores. So now we have some time for Q&A. So do we have some questions for our panelists? Yes? I think they're going to hand you a mic. Yes.
You were mentioning about attributing a particular install to a keyword. May I know what tool is used to do that?
I think he's probably looking at you right now, but I think one, obviously you're using whatever data is available on the console, right? Console obviously is giving you, when I mean console, the Play Store console and all, they're giving you the first level of data that you need in this case. I think from an understanding perspective, I think third-party tools like Aptweak also do give you that kind of intelligence. You may not be able to you are able to really understand an app like yours, where does that get their installs from, and where do they even have the potential to gain more installs from, because your competition has seen installs from that kind of keyword, right? So your own data comes from your own console, but a tool like Aptweak will also help you understand where else can you get that install, because your competition is already doing that.
No, I heard a point that you were mentioning, like a food-based keyword is delivering a more monetization.
Yeah.
I want to understand how we are tracking those.
Okay, so that is the orchestration that is really needed. As I mentioned, that we know that that the food-related keyword got us a download. Google gives us that information. Let's start with that. Google gives us that information that this was responsible for a download. And then the telemetry begins. The moment I have that customer key, customer ID, I know the entire telemetry around how this customer or player went about playing level 1, world 1, restaurant 1, level so on and so forth, and where did she monetize or where did she drop off. So when you really design a game, there is a bunch of events that you configure, and you keep on getting that into your DB. So some of that comes from Google, so the first part, top of the funnel, comes from, let's say, Aptweak, and then Google tells me that this was a conversion, and then I need to know what really happened during the progression. Where did she drop off? Where did she monetize? Or where is she watching a lot of ads? We make about 65% of money through purchases, but 35% comes through ads. So I will know that this lady or this type of this particular cohort, this segment that we acquired through our performance marketing is more towards ad monetization versus IAP. So you can do that. There is a bunch of things that we've also built internally. So it's a combination of product, platform from Google, and the insightful data that we've built internally. Yeah. Thanks for asking. I did not know that question was meant for me. Yeah, good. I thought it was a plant and you wanted to hear Aptweak as an answer. Thank you for the question.
Any other question?
Hi, my question is for the Nukebox Studios founder.
That's me.
Yes. You mentioned that you have only free-to-play games, right? I also want to know if these are completely free-to-play or these are like freemium model where you have like even like, somebody can buy a premium version of the game. If not, then why not?
Yeah, so in our journey of many, many years, we started with premium games. And we were trending very high on App Store. We had, genres around kid and all that. But I think that market fundamentally changed around 2015-16, where people were saying that, why should I pay in advance when I do not know what I'm getting into, right? That was a model that was followed earlier because you were on a console. There's a new game that comes in, blitzkrieg marketing, you pay $50. But on the mobile phone, which is like more of a, we make games in the casual genre. So it's more like snacking. Women play for 10 minutes, 3 sessions, so 30 minutes a day. They would like to sample stuff first. And that's the reason we said, okay, play the game. And if you like it, move forward. And if you acquire sufficient skills, you can finish the entire game for free. And that's the premise. But sometimes the levels get tough, and then you might have to redo that whole thing. And if you think your time is at premium and time can be compensated by money, then we say you can watch an ad and you can replay the level. And if you say, I don't want to play the ad, I will pay the money and I will get a power up and give me another life. So to answer the first question, it is F2P. That's a promise. So if you are sufficiently good, you will finish the entire, you'll burn through the entire content. You'll play through the entire thing, you'll be the boss for free. But if you are stuck, you're not that good, skill needs to be upgraded, then you have the other monetization pieces. Yeah.
So you have in-app purchases, but you don't have like a premium model, a premium version of the same app, right?
We do not have the premium model for the same app if our games are on app stores. Now, there are these telcos worldwide. Like, for example, there is a Spanish telco that has created a user community, and they can give their users a subscription model. So you pay $5 and you can play 10 games. There they ask us to convert our F2P game into a premium game, which is behind a paywall. So once the paywall is taken off, somebody can play and continue to play.
That's a good monetization tip. Thank
Yes,
you.
so that is a third monetization piece. And the fourth is we are moving to the web, and we're looking at web stores and so on. And so there's a lot of evolution happening in our space. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the question. Yeah.
I think we can take one more question. Yes, I see there. Okay, we can take these two ones, and then I guess we'll wrap up.
Hey, hi everyone. So my question is specifically for Rishab. So Rishab, like we were talking about the visibility and ranking of the keywords. So I just wanted to know from Apple App Store point of view, what do you think, like what is the significance of the keywords in terms of ranking? I mean, what significance of description in terms of the ranking for the Apple App Store?
Talking about long description part of
Correct,
it?
long description.
I don't think so it play much role towards it. So in App Store, mostly it will, the title, your keyword will play majority of role in App Store. So these two, fields are more important than, I think LD doesn't play any role over there.
Okay, I mean, for Play Store, like that is something which Google also says, and that we have also experimented, that plays somewhat a role. Like if you have put like good kind of density in our long description, but when it comes to Apple App Store, like this is something which is very skeptical, because like some says that it plays some role, some says it doesn't play some role. So like what do you think if it plays or not?
So in my experience, that's why I said it doesn't play any role. So
Okay.
your keyword and your title, and there is some sub description which is kind of SD, right?
Yeah.
So these three play majority of role. I think 90-95%. If it plays also, it doesn't. It's very significant, equal to null.
Okay, thank you.
If I can add on here, what you share is very right. So we did many testing at AppTweak on what are the keywords that are actually being taken by the different algorithms. So on Apple is definitely the app name, the subtitle, and then the keyword field.
Correct.
But there are ways to actually increase the weight of the keyword that you have there, so you can leverage Apple search ads. Because the way the algorithm works on the App Store is that it's going to reward you if you have a higher conversion rate. So if your app or your game is relevant to that keyword, you're going to be rewarded by being able to rank higher. So if you manage to have an ad being displayed for that keyword and that you have good conversion, you're sending a signal to the store saying, hey, my app is being relevant here, so please increase my organic rankings. Okay. So that's one way of growing your organic ranking, is to have it both in your metadata and to run Apple search ads on it. The other, another way is to, for some very important keyword, is to include this within your screenshots. Because we know that screenshots are highly visual, so people will actually directly understand what your app is about seeing it in your screenshot, so you'll also increase conversion, and increasing conversion will help you rank higher on the keyword.
Correct, yeah. All right, thank you.
There was one question behind.
Yeah. So I have a question for complete panel members. Let's say like we get app downloads. Let's say I have 10 million downloads. I did some performance marketing, ASO and all, right? So I want to understand the next step of the funnel, right? So I need to break it into two questions. So one is like what are the strategies or the approaches we can leverage for monthly active users? Let's say how you ensure once a user download your app, he is coming and visiting your app, and he is interacting with your app. So that is the first thing. And then what strategy we can ensure the user doesn't uninstall your app. So what are the things we can do for the retention point of view?
So you can make use of user engagement tools. For example, Clever Tap is here actually. So once user comes into your app, you need to design your user engagement part. For example, you can see that in some apps, once you have having done the sign up, you will receive the notification in hour to make you sign up actually. So you can create those kind of steps which is automated in such kind of tools. So you can make sure that users are doing certain activities within this time frame actually. So you can do that to user engagement. Also you can retarget those users with the respective tools. For example, you can even target the uninstalled users via SMS with the help of those tools. Also, you can create a segment and analyze where your users are dropping down. And you can, for example, if you've seen that the users are not doing in-app activities, so you can just go this step before, and you can just implement the survey kind of type, like why users are not doing such items. So we have done to one of our app. So we check whether the in-app items that we have provided are not interested, or whether the rates are too high, something like that. So we have received the respective answer, and we have implemented those takeaways in our app and UI UX feature. That helps us to retain the users.
All right. Anyone wants to add?
If you are interested in a more detailed answer, which is pessimistic, I can give you a lot of pessimism here, right? The number one thing is privacy. The problem is that the gamers do not want to disclose who they are. And the app stores also are not allowing us to know who the person is who's playing our game. So if somebody has left you, how will you ever get in touch with them, right? Because you don't know who they are, and they haven't given any information with you. So I think the first point is, what is the hook that you might have, which is beyond the app? And you have to think about that as a strategy. Is that a community that you are creating, and so on and so forth? So again, large topic to discuss. The part one of that is that, at least in gaming, I can tell you that our D1 retention, if we hit a 50%, there's balle balle happening in the office, okay? The numbers are really bad. It's 35%, 40%, 42, 48%, but if you cross 50%, it's great. And D7 typically comes down to about 15, 18%, and D30 will be about 8% and all that. And these are facts in the gaming world, at least. So again, I'm coming from, from a very different perspective. Not the app world, but the gaming world. Now, what we do in the gaming world is what is called as live ops. We run live ops all the time, that these are the events that generate excitement. Imagine you've launched a new food restaurant in this physical world. There is initial, effulgence around it. People love it. There's, new food, novelty value, and so on and so forth. 6 months down the line, what happens? A lot of people have sampled it. There has to be a reason for them to come back again, right? And that's where you do a food festival, or you get a celebrity there and you do whatever not to get them interested to come back. So I think that's what we call as live events. And you have to continuously do those live events so that people on top of the funnel, when they are progressing linearly, they can get bored with linear progression. And you have to have something else that kind of disturbs that monotony and gives them excitement and more experiences. So create those experiences.
Great. Thank you very much. I think it was super insightful panel. Thank you to all of you. I think you deserve a big round of applause. So we'll have now the tea break. I'll hand maybe the mic to Karan, who will announce what's on the program now for us. But again, thank you very much.